How's it going, everybody? This is the Uncanny Omar from Near Mint Condition, the home of collected editions. And today I've got two wonderful people that talk about books, live books, and just love collected editions. And that is Jeff Connor and David Leach. Jeff, David, welcome back, buddy. But Jeff, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do?
You mean at Alcon Publishing? I've been with Alcon 7 years. And I was originally brought in to look at Blade Runner continuity before the first, before 49 came out. Mm-hmm. And then I my background is in publishing, and I do have a comic book background as well as prose. And just say, hey, let's get into this publishing thing. There's might be something there. And so now we have the division that we have now, and we do a lot of stuff with Titan. We have a co-pub agreement with Titan. And we work with some other publishers as well. And we put out art books and the comic books, of course, and we put out original fiction. So we're in all kinds of stuff.
So before we get to David, I have to ask this because I'm curious myself. What is the best version in the true version of Blade Runner, the original movie?
Oh, that's easy.
Well, I mean, I do come down with Denis on that the work print that they showed in San Diego is the best version. I think it got tinkered with after that. And to me, it's the closest to at least the screenplays that I read.
So
what do you think, David?
Well, I've not seen that version. So
it's on that box set, you know.
Yeah, it's in the special edition box set.
Yeah.
Does it have the voiceover?
It has a version of it because the scripts that I read, some friends of mine were working on Blade Runner, and I got 3 versions of the script before it came out that I had read. And I'd read the novel as well. And there was voiceover in the scripts, not to the extent that was in the released film, but to say that it was originally devoid of voiceover, I think is inaccurate.
Well, my favorite version is the voiceover, and that for me is, you know, pure. The first one I saw for the very first time in 1982 at a not a sneak preview. It was the first preview in the world, and I saw it in Shaftesbury Avenue at a cinema, and it was so oversubscribed. It was a 3-screen cinema. It was so oversubscribed that they had to take the print from the main screen and show it on the other 2 in rotation because they were frightened there was going to be a riot, and it blew my tiny art school brain. It was just. And I loved it the second I saw it. In fact, the hairs are standing up on my arm now. But the minute the Alan Ladd logo, just the Alan Ladd logo, had all the hairs standing up, and a shiver went up my spine. I'd never seen it before. And I thought, oh, my God. And then you cut to that eyeball with the fireball. And that was it. I was just on board. And I went to see it with a really good friend of mine. And we left the cinema afterwards, and we were shell-shocked. We were just stunned. And the one thing I remember is in front of us with these 2 other blokes who'd just been to see it. And one turned to the other and said, well, that was shit. and my friend Ryan had to grab me and restrain me from actually murdering him on the street. Because for me, it was like an epiphany. I just seen the future. It was incredible. And then to hear this idiot just dismiss it like that, it was just like, what? It's incredible.
I remember finding out about different versions of it when I was a kid. Because I mean, we didn't have the internet, right? We just went to conventions, and people at conventions had a different cut, and I was like, "What? What is this?" Because I think the VA, there was, again, things would go out of print even back then, where the VHSs would just go out of print and out of existence, out of content, out of circulation for so long that there was only one theatrical cut, and that was it. But that's how I wanted to start. I'm always curious what people's favorite version.
Well, the Criterion Laserdisc that came out just pretty close after the film came out had the European cut that had a little bit more explicitness to it.
Yes.
And it had the voiceover, and that was my favorite version for a long time.
Yeah.
You know, growing up with film noir, the voiceover certainly didn't bother me, and it was part of the package, you know. So
yeah, absolutely.
I always liked it, but it certainly gets a lot of stick these days.
Which I think is a great shame. I mean, I saw a film recently with a narrator. Oh, yeah, Life of Chuck, and it had the narrator's voice. And I thought, this is lovely. Why don't more films use the narrator's voice? Because it elevated the whole film. And
I think it's coming back. The problem with that European, because it still had those shots from The Shining of them escaping through the woods, and you just going, why do they live in this crappy city when they have all this wonderful countryside? So kind of
I know what you mean, but at the time, I just didn't mind that.
Well, you were young.
I was young. I was, yeah. The weight of the world hadn't crushed my spirit by that point. But I'm surprised your question wasn't, is Deckard a replicant? I thought that would be your opening question.
Oh, no, I don't want to spoil it.
Yeah, that's seen it. The answer is far more disappointing than the question. So we don't have to go there.
We've spent many hours discussing that, Jeff.
Yeah, we have.
I think everybody that has seen that movie has spent hours discussing it. Like, yeah, absolutely, man. I love that series. So, to segue into what we were talking about today, we can have a discussion about Blade Runner later on. The comics that you all have been putting out through Titan have been released in trade paperback. They've been released in single issue, and they've been released in a box set. At what time or when was it decided, hey, we've got the trade paperbacks and we've got the box set. Why don't we put those 3 trades together and just release them in one big book? At what time, when did you all decide that, or was that the plan from the beginning? Like, if you had enough material?
I can't answer that with any clarity whatsoever. But what I do know is that certainly when we saw just how great the Conan omnibuses were, that it made us realize that we could do the same treatment for Blade Runner. And I found that, I mean, I actually thought I thought about it, and I talked to our publishing director, Ricky, and I'd mentioned to him, and he said, "Oh, we're way ahead of you. We've been talking about this for months." So it was clearly something that was on the radar, and they discussed. And I just got to say that I think you said something before we started recording that you'd read it in the book form, and the crazy thing is we've been working on this series for 2018, so a very long time. It's only now in book form that I've actually been able to read it and enjoy it as a story in its own right. Because when you're working on individual issues, you don't read it for pleasure. You know, there's a whole different mindset. Mm-hmm. But to actually get the book and sit there with this lovely £5 book and go through it, it's just for me, you get the whole story in one chunk, and it's just exhilarating.
I had much the same experience going over the color proofs. Being able to sit down and just see the whole thing at once, and having distance with it, it was like engaging with the material for the first time in a certain way. Yeah, and it was just great. So I think the collections are a response to fan interest. You know, if the interest wasn't there, no commercial reason to do it. So I think it's a logical progression to go from the floppies to the trade paper to the hardcover and to this wonderful new edition. And so it's really the fans that have made this happen.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because it does seem to me, Omar, you're sitting in a cupboard, which is testament to the fact that people out there seem to like hardback books.
Oh yeah, like seriously, my most successful videos are always the big editions, and it's weird because when I look at every comment. And the comments are like, these books are getting too expensive. I can't afford these. I'd rather get them in trade paperback. But the trade paperback videos, I do really get a fraction of the views of these and the interest in these. And I have loved these big books when they first came out, and have been a fan since then. And I have loved the evolution. I love how much research has gone into this, what paper stock they use, how to try to keep costs down because everything is going up, and the kind of binding that books need, the kind of paper stock they need. And I know we have a lot of questions right now because everybody wants to talk about different things, and I promise I will get through a lot of these. But
there's people watching this. Wait a minute.
What?
Yeah, it's not just me. I promise. There's big fans of your all's work out there, and some of them set time aside to come today to watch live. So to me, it really is amazing that publishers are taking a chance on these big books, because it is a bit of a gamble. You don't know what's going to succeed and what isn't. So I was taken back. By the way, if people are not familiar, if you have not seen my video on the Blade Runner Omnibus, that thing is huge. It's bigger and taller than the Conan Omnis, the Marvel Omnis, the DC Omnis. It's a game changer, because that's like that opens the door for like, oh my gosh, I'd love to see Tank Girl in this format. I'd love to see other books like Elric in this format, in a big format like this. And you have no idea what you both just did with Blade Runner, man. It's crazy.
Well, I mean, for me, one of the things that was so much fun putting together was the bonus material in the back, and trying to give people, you know, I mean, we've shown stuff in the floppies, but putting it all together in one book, it just makes the whole thing. And you were talking about, you know, the number of views you get for about the books. We're creating not just books, we're creating artifacts, you know, that things that look good. They look great on the shelf. When you hold it, there's weight to it. It has a quality to it that you don't get with floppies, you know. And with all that, I mean, that lovely sound that a book makes when you open it for the first time, that lovely cracking sound, you know. Oh, you know,
that's the sound I make, David.
Likewise, you and I before
very specific.
Well, it's
that should be my text messaging sound. When I text message people. Yeah, we have talked about this in the past when I've had you on, and how much praise, you know, people were giving you because of what you were doing to Conan. And now, you know, those books are finally out. People are seeing the products come out. They've seen, oh my gosh, I think we're on volume 6 of Savage and Conan. You know, those are reprints, but we actually have new material like Savage Sword 9, Savage Sword 10. We've got King Conan 2 coming around the corner. We've got the deluxe edition of Jim Zub's run, which is magnificent, by the way. That's another one that took me by surprise, dude. I didn't know you all were going to do a bigger, like, my video hasn't come out yet. It comes out this week. It's a big book. It's bigger than an omnibus, and I wasn't expecting that.
Wow.
So it's like, oh, you guys, you know what to do now, right? Like, you know what people are going to be asking for, those King and the Colossal Conan books over that Dark Horse did.
Wow.
Those will work your arm out. You don't need to go to the gym.
Well, I think the great thing is that, and it's clear that the three of us love books. So the chance to make books like this, it's a freaking gift. It's just wonderful. It's exhilarating. It's exciting. So, yeah, any chance I get to put one of these things together, I'm going to put as much of I can into it to make it, you know, as good as possible. Like you were talking about, like the quality of the paper, that sort of stuff. You know, for me, it's quality of the paper. It's also things like I'm a huge fan of, as you know, Omar, I'm a huge fan of end papers. You know, all the end papers.
Oh yeah,
thank you for that.
Very important.
Oh, absolutely. I freaking
there's
love
a lot of
papers.
technology that goes into books that people may not realize.
Yeah,
and I think making as good an object that you can that reflects the quality of the material inside, they should really line up. You know, pearls before swine. I mean, the effort we put into it it's really worth it. And I'm I
remember
these will outlast us. It's cathedral building.
I remember your email when we were doing the 3 books. I had to get 3 PDFs of the 3 volumes and do it so that Jeff could see the spines to make sure they all lined up. And
yes, I gave you a bit of stick because you sent me an incorrect PDF where they did not line up, and I was shocked and dismayed.
But it's only because the PDF included the bleed area. But anyway, I had to prove it to him, and he was convinced that you were tough on that one. You were very tough on me, and I knew that it was okay because I trust my designer. But Jeff, it's important to make sure that he was happy.
I've been very happy with Titan.
You overall.
Good, thank you.
Yeah, they released some amazing books, and I remember when you all were you and Heroic Signatures came out and said that you were going to continue the Conan Omnis and you were going to reprint the ones that Marvel had done. At that time, Titan hadn't done a lot of big books.
No,
not like the Marvel Omnis. So people were like, "Can this company even do it? Like, what do they know?" And I'm like, "Well, I know they know a lot about books because I've reviewed a lot. I know they have different formats. They have huge books. They have smaller books, but never have they released a big, like, thick book."
Well, what we've done in the past, you're right, we hadn't done anything as big as the Marvel omnibuses. I mean, like some of the early Conans and some of the ones we're doing now, they're over 1,000 pages.
Oh yeah,
we'd done Doctor Who omnibuses, and they would collect a whole year's
Yes.
worth of Doctor Who.
Mhm.
We'd done 2 what I call, the artist editions, the great big oversized. We'd
Mhm.
done 2 of those. One was, in fact, 3. One was Alien, the fantastic Walter Simpson Alien adaptation. One was one I did, which I was deeply and still am, which was a collection of the Jack Kirby and Gil Kane unpublished Prisoner as the actual original artwork, and that was, oh god, I could
that was a good book.
that was, and that, for me, I could spend an hour just talking about that, but I'm not going to. So we'd done stuff like that, but yeah, definitely doing the first Marvel Conan, that was something new to us, yeah, and that was a learning curve.
Well, but you guys did it. You guys put out the work, and people
Thank
saw they saw the actual build of the books. They saw the end. I doing my video. That was the first thing I noticed. Was like, I love the fact that they added end sheets, because to me that shows that people care, and people took you took notice that this is something special, that this version has to stand out above anything else, because it was the very first book that you all, I think Savage Sword was the very first one that came out. It was the very first omnibus that you all put out, volume 1. And even though it was a reprint, it still had to, you had to have the right paper stock. You had to have the right binding. You had to, and those, oh my gosh, those end sheets, man. That was the icing on the cake.
Well, do you know, I got to say, and I did the same thing for Blade Runner. In fact, Blade Runner was easy because I knew straight away I wanted to do that opening double page spread. That's very funny. So that comes from issue 1 of 2019, and that was added. That double page spread was added after the script was finished, and it was a discussion we had, which was we wanted to have like a hero shot of the city. And so we worked out where we could put it in the strip, and we added 2 pages. So that spread, which was done after the rest of the book was finished, I love that. I knew that had to be the end paper. But when I'm doing the Conans, the great thing is it means I have to go through every single issue of Conan to find an image. And then what I do is I mock up. I give myself 10, and then I mock them up and I work out which ones we're going to use, and then I send it around to get people's opinion and feedback. With Blade Runner, I don't need to, because the images just present themselves. You know exactly which one you're going to use. So it's just a fun part of the job.
Before we get to some of the questions here in the chat, I did want to talk to both of you about what it is like to work and design some of these books, and how well or how close you two work together. Well, like Blade Runner, for example, the Blade Runner books that we got, like whose idea was it to go bigger?
Oh, someone, probably our end, and it would be above my pay grade. So somebody above me.
To me, it seemed like an obvious statement, so I was just waiting for Titan to come around to it. But again, like I said, it's fan response. He has to justify the expense for that.
That's a good point Jeff makes there, is that Jeff's been championing this idea for a long time. He was talking about this years ago.
That's true.
He keep going on and on and on about it.
Whinging about it whenever the opportunity arose.
Yeah. So he was well on board. So when we came to do it, his response was just fantastic. He was like, "Yeah, absolutely, let's do it now.
About time."
Yeah.
Welcome to the party, late.
Yeah. So yeah, Jeff was insanely on board. So it was, and I think that really helps if you got a license holder that sort of behind you, then it's great. I mean, I think of all the Blade Runner stuff we've done, it was perhaps the easiest one we've ever worked on, to be honest. I suppose because everything had been approved.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's the creative and all those arguments have been their way in the past. This is how can we make this material just shine and shine and shine.
Yeah.
But in terms of us working together, we work very closely from the concept to script, looking at the art, all the stuff. And
Jeff was involved. I mean, like I'd find artists and I'd send them to Jeff, and Jeff, I mean, basically Jeff, who's the face of Alcon for this whole thing, he would have to approve everything that we did. So it was me having to get it past Jeff. He's the gateholder. And then over time, we sort of, as we worked together a long time now. So we had so many conversations at the beginning of it when we were developing Blade Runner. So we had Johnson and Green who were writing it, but Jeff and I Jeff mainly was in charge of the canon and we'd have conversations back and forth about canon to do with Blade Runner, things that could and could not happen, and we were quite strict with those, and they became a set of rules that we would send out to artists and to Johnson and Green to sort of make sure that things, because we're you described it quite well, Jeff. You described it as was it adjacent canon? So the film is canon, and then the Blade Runner comics are adjacent to the canon. I think that's how you described it, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're definitely designed to be in canon, but no comic is going to influence any of the films. So that's where the adjacent comes from.
Yeah.
But the genesis for the story, I was Michael Green and then Mike Johnson. We didn't come up with that and hire them to write that story. They were, especially Michael Green, was the instigator of the whole thing. So he planted that acorn that turned into a mighty oak. Yeah,
I mean, he definitely, his DNA is all over 2019, and then Johnson sort of took the DNA and then he ran with it for 2029 and 2039, and he really, and so Green still had, input on the next two series, but Johnson was the main sort of writer on those. So it was, and working with him was fun. It's all been fun. It's all
very collegial.
Yeah, and what I've tried to do is I set out right from the word go. I wanted to make sure that we had the same artist working across all three books, but I also wanted the same colorist. I wanted the same letterer, because I felt that those would give it all a sense of being part of one unit, and I thought that was very important.
My hat's really off to David for pulling that off. I mean, that harks back to like really long runs from Marvel, where you would have the same artistic team on for a couple of years. And the fact that we can pull it off in today's environment where everyone's jumping ship and doing different jobs, it's really great. And I think also the books, it's a non-superhero book, and they don't look like American comics. They have that European flair, just like the movie did. They're closer to, Metal Hurlant and what's happening in Europe than, like an Image book. So,
well, that's fantastic to hear, because it's one of the things I wanted right from the get-go. I didn't want to use traditional superhero artists. I wanted European artists, because I felt that they could handle. Jeff and I talked about this, was that the whole setting of Blade Runner, the whole environment, is just as important as the characters, and so we needed artists that could render the city in a way that was interesting, and not just like a 3D computer generated model, but there were actually, there was life and there was interest in the buildings. So, and I just found myself gravitating more and more towards the European artists, because they just gave me something different, something that felt edgier.
The Blade Runner comics, we know take place before the movie, but how far in advance do you all plan the years? You had 2019, 2029, like.
Well, it's a natural progression, so we can see what's happening once that protocol had been put in place. So the way Ash's story evolves over 30 years, which is quite an epic, that was from the writers. That wasn't dictating to them.
I mean, Johnson had a very clear vision. I mean, I think he might have even been the one, when it came to talk about the second series, who wanted to carry. We wanted to carry on Ash, but he didn't just want to carry on like, okay, we're gonna, he wanted there to be a definite change. And the idea of jumping 10 years meant that you could change the world, and you could up the stakes. And also, it changed her as a character. It made her more vulnerable. It gave her more depth. And so I thought it was a very clever idea to do. I can't think of another comic off the top of my head. I'm sure many of your viewers probably could, where you have a character who actually ages 30 years across the three arcs.
And her character really changes. I mean, she evolves. And the timeline from the first film to the second film, it's kind of a spectrum, and we're marching along it. So you sort of, the earlier comics are more like the first film, the later comics are more like the second film. And you can see those changes in the artwork for sure.
That's one of the great things we'd have conversations about, where it come down to technology. And Jeff is a real stickler for the technology, that we couldn't have flat screens. And we had, I remember emails when we were doing 2029, well, I'd have to convince Jeff that it was okay now to have a flat screen TV, because up until then they'd all been cathode rays.
But I think that's what you need, right? Like, you need somebody in continuity, because it can. We have seen not adaptations, but expansions on worlds that have gone to crap, for lack of a better term, quite quick. And that's due to nobody really taking the helm and saying that wouldn't be accurate because it didn't happen in the film. Like I think, or in the movies or in the books, I think you need somebody like that. And it shows. And I think that's why that's one of my favorite releases this year, that the very first book in 2029. Now there's a total of 3 of them, but is there talk of perhaps more later on?
Yes, there's talk about more later on. Yeah, that's all I can say, is that you know, these prove to be, as Jeff has already said, is that if these prove to be popular and they make money, then of course we're going to keep doing more of them because there's a market for them. So I'm sure that you share this dream, Omar, and I think Jeff too. One day we'll be able to look at our shelves and there'll be a slipcase right across the board, and it'll be fantastic.
You throw slipcases, that's a whole other level of nerdom that I'm here about, man. I love it. This is slipcases. I did want to go ahead and start taking some chat questions, and I think this is a really excellent one since we're talking about Blade Runner. Is there any chances of past comic books on Blade Runner, such as the Marvel specials, like they did? I think they did some in like '82, in the early '80s.
Yeah, there were two issues drawn by Al Williamson. They are absolutely stunning.
Yeah, with the Steranko cover.
Yeah, beautiful.
For the graphic novel version. There, you know, we looked into that, and it's kind of a rights thing, and so collector's market is your best bet, or, you know, bootleg PDFs or whatever. But, you know, we're not going to get into it.
There's a very nice little paperback edition as well.
That's right. I have that.
Yeah,
and there is a kind of a kids version of the film.
Yes, I've got that too.
Yeah,
I've got that too. I've recently bought that on auction, so I've got all the books now that are ever produced. Yeah. Have you got the lovely Blue Dolphin? There's a wonderful Blue Dolphin Ridley Scott script book, which has got like the storyboard.
Oh yeah, I do have that. Yeah, yeah. You know, I had a record and comic shop in my earlier life. Our shop was very much like the store in High Fidelity.
Oh, nice.
We sold comics, and we were very judgmental. But
was that its name?
Cymbeline Records.
Ah, okay.
Not from the Shakespeare play, but from the song by Pink Floyd.
Oh,
because that song references Doctor Strange.
Yes.
So it has a comic book tie-in.
Anyway,
getting into the weeds there, but we had those books when they came out. We carried them, so that's why I have a copy.
Wow, you guys are going deep into these different.
I know, we're total nerds.
Oh, I love it. I don't own any of those, but that's awesome. Okay. When you spoke of licenses, then we have to talk about something else that I know people have been curious about, and I don't know if you can speak of it, but when doing the Conan books, Red Sonja has appeared within the comics, and that's the agreement that you in the latest Savage Sword 10, meaning that you all can print her appearances in the comic as long as it's not a Red Sonja comic. Is that correct, or how does that work?
As far as I am aware, Red Sonja can't appear as a lead character. She can appear as a secondary character, but we can't do. I mean, we've had some reader complaints that Red Sonja is removed from the books, but that's just as Jeff said about Blade Runner, it's just a licensing thing. You know, we don't have the rights to do Red Sonja, so you know, we can use her limited, but we can't reprint her adventures.
Yeah, so as long as she's not the lead, she can appear on stories that, like I said, she appears in Savage Sword Omnibus Volume 10, and I was really happy to see her return, because you know, the internet worries when there's a lack of character showing up. But I've always known that at least the deal with Marvel, it was as long as it's not her comic, she can appear in stories with Conan. And as long as she's not the focus of like a backup story of Savage Sword or something like that. This is an excellent question. Where's the best starting point for Conan Collected Edition? Seems like there's a lot. I'm curious what you would say, David, as somebody that works on these books.
Well, hang on. First of all, I'm old school, okay? I'm an exceedingly old man.
So Barry Smith or nobody?
Yeah, absolutely. And as a result, I'm a Luddite. I'm old school. So if you said to me, where's the best starting point? I'm going to say Conan Omnibus Conan the Barbarian Omnibus Volume 1, and then Savage Sword of Conan Omnibus Volume 1. That, in my opinion, is the absolute best starting point. If you wanted to go,
Okay, I'm surprised. Okay, no, that's awesome.
No. You asked me my opinion. However, I think that the comic that Titan are putting out, the new Conan comic, is just fantastic. I mean, Jim Zub is just brilliant. So start reading those. They're absolutely fantastic. I mean, Conan is just a terrifically good character. But the early Marvel, Conan the Barbarian and Savage Sword, those are wonderful. God, the Savage Sword stuff.
Oh, the brutal, artwork and the storytelling and the pacing and
well, there we are then.
Yeah, well, no, I agree. I'm just really surprised that
why
you went. I don't know, because
I'm old school.
When somebody asked me that question, I'm like, okay, you could go Savage Sword if you like black and white and can stomach old school storytelling, and because some people
stomach
can't.
is
Some people need color. Some people need modern. And Conan isn't. Damn, he's not the most politically correct character, which I love, right? But when you're talking about those kind of stories, I don't know, people have problems with that. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, that's weird.
The Jim Zub one is the obvious place to go for me.
Well, I mentioned him as well, didn't I?
No. And rightly so, because that book is amazing. Like, I think he's able to take everything that I love about Conan while still not crossing that line like we used to, and not really playing it safe, but doing what he can with the character. I think it's great. Like, there are instances that I'm like, oh yeah, and I can't, and I've told him this on interviews that I can't help but go, oh, Roy Thomas would have done it differently. He wouldn't have talked to those guys. He would have killed those guys instead of talking it out, because that's Conan.
Well, what I'm going to try and do is do a crossover between Conan and Blade Runner.
Hey, Jeff, Conan's joined the Avengers, so anything is possible. Honestly.
I recently reread that. I thought that What If story if Conan ended up in the presents
with the Bill Sienkiewicz cover.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was actually quite entertaining. I don't know whether fans hated it, but for me, I thought, yeah, I can deal with that.
What's the difference between Conan Reforged and the ongoing Savage Sword of Conan? I like the big format of single issues.
I can't answer that because I don't handle that side of the Conan books. I just do the omnibuses. So my wonderful colleague Jake handles that side of it. So I'm really sorry. I can't answer it. I will say that they're both great, but that's what I'm sorry. I thought we were here to talk about Blade Runner.
No, you're going to talk about only Conan.
I can see from the questions.
No, okay. So this is a legit question, though. I'm curious because you guys just did the Blade Runner book and I don't know. I think Marvel already set the template for this. But could you ever, as a big fan of the older stories, like the ones by Thomas and Buscema on Savage Sword, could you ever imagine Titan going back to those and printing them in a magazine size format like they were originally printed on? Or just stick to the omnibus format that you have now, because that's a lot of books. Or maybe pick some stories from I don't know. That seems like a lot. You've got 11 or 10 omnis, 11 about to come out. To redo them in a trim size of a magazine would just be the look on your face. You look like you're up to the task.
I'm just thinking. So you keep talking about 10. I'm currently working on volume 12 of Savage. Volume 3 of King Conan. Ooh. I'm working on Conan the Adventurer. So, but I've not got many years left. I don't want to start going back and then redoing them all again. I think I might jump off the building if I have to do that.
Okay, don't do that.
That's what interns are for.
I mean, surely I deserve a break.
It's a lot. Well, I mean, I don't think people realize just how much Conan there is left to collect.
Yeah.
Not just reprinting, but left to collect. Even those stories that people want reprinted from Dark Horse. And I know we've talked about this in the past.
You mean the Busiek stories?
Yeah, the Busiek stories and then the Tim Truman stories.
Actually, I was working for Conan Properties when we were doing those.
Oh, wow.
To Alcon, I worked for Conan Properties for maybe 18 months. and started doing the reprints with Dark Horse and the new comics with Dark Horse. And what I was more in charge of was we did a series of original novels to tie in with a video game that came out years later, and they were the Age of Conan novels. I think there was 12 of them.
Yeah.
So that was my thing, working on those.
Wow.
So I do have a little bit of history with Conan.
That's nice. I didn't know that, Jeff. You kept that secret from me.
You guys could have bonded over that.
We bonded over Blade Runner. We have a bond that can't be broken. We've got matching tattoos.
Yeah, matching tattoos.
Don't show them.
Okay.
Well, it's in an unusual place you wouldn't have expected.
You guys really like Blade Runner.
Oh, yeah. When you're going through TSA, you don't want any unusual imagery there.
I don't have David. I forget to invite David on more often. He's a freaking blast. I never know what he's gonna say.
No, I don't either. It's always a complete surprise to me. I say things and think I don't think I should have said that. There we are.
Stalling Bane is being re-released. Will the Cull volumes following at any point? I think Marvel did a total of 3 Cull Omnis, if I'm not mistaken.
Once again, I genuinely don't know the answer to this one. I've worked on the Solomon Kanes. I had great pleasure in weaving magic on one of the covers, which I don't think anyone will spot, but I was very pleased with myself. Because I have to remove the Marvel logo from the actual cover of the dust jackets. I was very pleased with my work on that one, but no one will notice.
No one will notice. Huh. Okay.
But I don't know about Cull. I don't know. It just in terms. I don't know if I'm allowed an opinion. In terms of me,
you're allowed an opinion.
Okay, yes. Personally, this isn't a Titan voice, but me personally, I'm not necessarily a huge fan. But I just leave it there.
Of Solomon or Cull?
Oh, of Cull. I think Solomon's fascinating. Working on the Omnibus was amazing. He's such an interesting character. This sort of like obscenely randy sort of vicar rushing around mainly Africa, stabbing monsters. It's just
it's ridiculously awesome.
It's bonkers.
Oh, I think Michael, he just answered your question.
Stupid question.
It's not a stupid question.
No question stupid. Well, that's not entirely true.
Okay, so this is I like this question. Now, which manga would you like to see Titan manga get? David, are you a fan of manga? What about you, Jeff? Any manga fans here?
The thing, I think some of the manga stuff, the visuals are interesting. The storytelling, it's so elongated. I mean, one of these golf mangas, they'll spend 12 issues on one round of golf, and they just don't move enough for me. I could see Blade Runner in a manga style for sure, and we have talked about it in the past. But
wait a minute. Jeff and David, hold on a second. You guys are fans of Blade Runner, but have you ever watched Bubblegum Crisis?
Yeah, I mean, Ergo Proxy. I've watched Bubblegum.
Okay. Just making sure we're on the same page. Okay, got it. We're cool. We're good. You're good now.
I mean, anime is different than manga.
Absolutely.
I just can't get into Shonen Jump all that much. But I've read all the Appleseed mangas. I think that there's certain ones are really great. As a whole, though, there's only so many hours in the day. But we're doing a Blade Runner series, that's set in Tokyo. So it would be a natural progression to try at least a limited series that was manga. But let me ask you, would it have to be produced in Japan to be true manga, or could it be produced like in Korea or in California?
Are you asking me or David? David seems to know the answer.
You.
Oh, me.
Base of fandom writ large.
Okay, so I'm a big manga fan and have been since the 80s. And to me, I think, we've had Stan Lee write a manga. And there's no way in hell Stan Lee flew to Japan to write that manga, and it's still considered a manga. So technically, people now, since we're all connected, can work from across the seas. You could have an artist that lives in America that has a manga background. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't think you need to live in Japan. I'm not, or at least me personally, I speak for myself again. I don't 100% need that for it to be a manga, because there's a lot of things I consider manga that originated outside of Japan. Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we've had some mangaka that moved to America and Europe. So yeah, they're everywhere. It's really cool. Like, and we live so connected now, just like we are here from Kentucky and California, and then
London.
Yes.
London. Just to put it into perspective, the home of culture. Just going to leave it there, okay?
California is.
Really? No, London.
Well,
we did it
that
first.
word culture is doing a lot of work there.
actually, that's. Oh no, I better not do it. My brain's warning me not to do that joke. I was just about to do a joke, and I've realised not to do it.
I love this guy. I need to have him on more often. Anybody that thinks maybe I shouldn't do the joke, probably.
Well, it's not that bad, but I just can imagine annoying people, and I don't like annoying people.
Oh, you're a good guy. Will the Blade Runner Tokyo 3-part series get a box set, Jeff?
Yes.
I think eventually we will collect at least the trade paperbacks into a slipcase, at the minimum. I mean, that's such a sweet little package. And then whether it reaches escape velocity to the oversized version, that remains to be seen. But I think they would definitely be collected. It's such a convenient way to have them all in one place. And I'm really happy with how that Tokyo Nexus has been developing. I think visually it's great, and I think the story is really cool. And it's an expansion of the Blade Runner universe, but we don't have to go off world. We don't have to do all this other stuff. And the film is so influenced by Japan and that sort of thing, that setting it there makes a lot of sense. And I think the story that they've come up with is compelling. So I think it's a fresh way to look at the familiar.
Absolutely. I mean, I think it definitely will get a box set. We tend to put them out as individual graphic novel collections, and then when we got 3 out, we put them out as a slipcase edition. And then what will happen is if that proves popular, then hopefully we'll do a nice omnibus edition of Tokyo. Because like Jeff said, I mean, it's one of my favorite series just because it's so different than what we've done before. I mean, the artwork is terrific. Mario Talbot.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
I like this talk of Omnis. I like this talk, David. What are the chances something like Tanker, I mentioned that earlier, would get a Blade Runner treatment? We've seen trade paperbacks. We've seen box sets. Has there been talks of perhaps like making some of especially the classic stuff, into an oversized format?
Interesting enough, I worked on the Tank Girl graphic novels when I first joined Titan, nearly 18 years ago, by the way. It's a very long prison sentence. The judge said I could either do hard time.
You'll get parole one of these days.
One of these days. But yeah, one of these days. I'm working through. Anyway, I worked on Tank Girl. And some of the early ones had to be different size books because the format changed, and so you couldn't do them as American size. I once again, unfortunately, I know I'm going to be annoying quite a lot of your viewers. I can't really answer that because I'm not party to those sort of conversations. I'm basically kept in a cupboard, and then when a new project comes along, they open the door, I fall out of the cupboard, and then they hand me the project, and then that's it. I don't have a lot of say over what we're going to do.
You're kept in a cupboard?
I am. I'm kept. This is it. Look, see.
You did this yourself, man. You were like, I'm not getting younger. I'm getting older. Like they're like, man, we got to get our money's worth out of this.
Yeah, quite possibly.
This is what happens. Yeah.
I mean, when I started at Titan, I was only 17.
Man,
and you had a full head of hair.
I had a full hair. I had no white in my beard. I didn't even have a beard.
So with somebody was asking earlier, and I just kind of want to summarize a couple of these questions that I see here. With something like Savage Sword of Conan, the new ones that are coming out, the black and white. That's out. You guys have done the single issues. Magazine size books. You've done a different trim size for those collections. They're they're not standard size trade paperbacks. The trim size is actually closer to the magazine size. Could you see one day them doing a hardcover collection of that, kind of like what we have with the Omnis, right?
I can't imagine why they wouldn't consider that. I mean, I think me personally, as a collector, I would love that. I would, yeah, absolutely. I mean, because those mags, they're hard to keep in nice pristine condition, but sticking behind a lovely cardboard cover, and yeah, hell yeah, I would buy it. Yeah. So let's say yes.
All right, that's
without any facts
manifested in the world, David.
Yeah, no facts to back it up, but let's say yes. And if not, I'll do it personally. I'll hand make each one.
And make each one. Okay. Yeah. That's a task.
David, how much restoration goes into the artwork when you put those books together?
Incredibly, there've been a few. There've been a handful of little changes that we've had to make. There's funny things that
these like production artifacts that just have lingered.
Well, there's been a couple of amusing incidents that people didn't spot when the books are done. So I'm not going to say which issue it was. There's two in particular. One where somebody, the colorist, decided to give Conan a goatee in one panel. So he had a goatee, and I spotted it, and we took it out. The other one was there was this very funny thing where the letterer and the editor had a conversation on the page in the margins, where the letterer made a sarcastic comment about how amazing it was that one of the characters was able to talk, and the other character, who was way off in the distance, could hear and repeat and respond to the conversation. And the editor wrote a comment back. So I spotted that, and we took that out as well. So there've been a few occasions where we've done that, but in terms of the actual repairing artwork, it's all been terrific. The quality has been amazing. I mean, they because we've gone back to the original Marvels, that they had all the assets. So there's definitely been loads of cleanup that was done on them, and certainly with the coloring. But the actual black and white parts of it have been amazing. And I've worked on loads of different stuff. I mean, I've worked on collections of Flash Gordon from the 50s, where I've had to actually personally draw in bits that have been lost, and I've even added my own bits to some Peanuts as well. The little bits of artwork that have gone missing. I mean, I haven't added anything new, but I've repaired it. But in terms of Conan, I'm frustrated because I'd like to put a little bit of myself into the Conan.
I think it's really cool that you caught things that other people haven't.
Oh, it's fab. It's great. It's great when you find one.
And I'm curious how often that happens. I mean, usually with these Marvel, DC, and Titan doing, monthly comics, it's really difficult sometimes to catch some of the things that artists put in. And I mean, there have been times that there have been recalls on comics because, well, some artists just tend to be very vocal about their beliefs in their art, and nobody caught it. And then afterwards, there's a whole like, what's happening? So it's really cool that you not only are you doing everything else, but the restoration, and through the restoration, you're catching things that no one else had. Pretty interesting.
It's. I mean, like, I cannot give enough credit to the people at Heroic Signature. They're the guys that source this stuff. They put the books together. All I'm doing is I'm going through the books at my end. I'm finding the end papers. I'm just going through, checking things. I'm going out of my way to look for things. So, like in the first Conan Omnibus I did, I was actually changing color balances because I felt the colors were too vibrant. I felt that some of the reds were way too high in the magenta, and I toned some of that down. Little things like that, which I'm if I do my job properly, no one's going to notice what I've done, and I like that. I like the fact that I'm playing around with this stuff and no one's actually aware of it. It's fun.
Have you had to do that with something like Blade Runner? Something like Blade Runner that has already gone through the monthly?
There have been mistakes that occur. Before we got our upgraded security system at the office, someone did come into the lobby and berate us for a mistake that was in the Black Lotus comic. It was just kind of a typo sort of a thing. And, God bless him for bringing it to our attention. I don't think he had to come down to the office to do that.
Is this why you have a security system now?
Yeah. We just can't have randos just dropping by.
Oh, yeah, we get that here. There've been a couple of
they work there.
There's been a couple of occasions where I've had to tweak artwork in Blade Runner. There was, can't remember, it might have been 2019, where a character visits a nightclub and he gets tasered, and Jeff wanted the squiggly wires drawn in, and it was like, oh god, and we had to do that. So we did. I remember that one. That was
I think most of the changes are in the covers.
Yeah,
you know,
yes.
Occasionally we'll get a cover where that's just not right, or this isn't working for me, and it's not common, but sometimes we have had to have 3 or 4 or even 5 different iterations of a cover before it's approved.
There's in issue 1 of 2019. They're driving down a highway, and there's a street sign or a motorway sign telling where they're going, and Jeff gave me so much hassle over that. And actually, if you see the little street sign, I made that street sign. I actually worked out how to do it, and I made it, and I did it in Photoshop and Illustrator. And I remember Jeff saying, "Yes, that's good enough. You can use that." And I thought, I did that. Little things like that. So we have I have tweaked little bits, but I have a great team. So if there's any changes, I mean, God, you remember that time we backed and forth for ages about there was these placards that demonstrators were using one of our Blade Runner books, and we Jeff and I are having this. We don't have heated arguments. We have. I quite enjoy them. The interaction me and Jeff have, it's quite amusing. I do enjoy it, but he gets very stern and strict with me, and I find it endearing. I have to say, totally endearing.
That is my big failing, is I care too much.
But we backed and forth over the sort of slogans that should be on banners, and we had to do that. That was fun. So yeah, little things like that, but that's just part of it. It's good fun.
I'm so pleased with the amount of cover art that we've created, because some of these issues, they came up to 10 different original pieces of art attached to them. So we have all this art, and I would like to do something with it, and open to suggestions, whether it's trading cards or a collection or.
Well, here's a question then, right back to the art. Like, are there any plans for Blade Runner artist editions? The Artisan Blade Runner 2019 Volume 1. I agree. It was freaking awesome.
Thank you. I love that one, the black and white one of Andres Guinaldo. I love that. Unfortunately, it came out just
a little ahead of its time.
Yeah, a little ahead of its time. Seriously, no, it was. Jeff's absolutely right. And so it didn't do well enough for us to do more. But I would love to do more, because that was glorious. You could see Andrew's artwork like that. Just fantastic. He's a great artist.
You see something with that trim size going through, the more popular covers, and having a little bit of an interview with the artist, or talking about how the cover came about, and giving sort of scholarship or some context to it. So it's just not the image without anything around it, because the stories behind some of these covers are interesting. And, we've used some of the same artists, several times. So there's a series there, and I think they have something to say about it, and how they're approaching Blade Runner and how it's affected their work. But some of those covers are great. I think having them in the galleries of the books is fine, but I think they deserve to sort of shine on their own as well and be foregrounded.
I'll just make a note of that. There we are.
Love the Blade Runner Omnibus. Bought it after watching.
Yay.
Oh, thank you.
There we go. Well, our job here is done. Let's go.
Oh, this is a really good question. Has anyone involved with the films read? I know Heroic Signatures, keeps an eye on things like with Conan. But yeah, what about the films, like with Blade Runner? Is there any?
Well, the comics didn't exist prior to 49, so that wasn't a thing. I think with the TV show, I'm sure some of those people have read the comics, and whether they're an influence either visually or whatever, I don't know. That's a different part of the building, and I don't have the clearance to go up there and see what's going on.
If I had a tie at this point, I would tighten it and lean forward and say, well, I can tell you this for a fact, that Sean Young, who played Rachel in Blade Runner,
Sean, love her.
I met her at a comic convention recently, and I went and introduced myself and told her that I was the editor of Blade Runner. I told her how fantastic she was in Blade Runner, and she said, "Do you mean that hardback book that?" And apparently, someone had just been up to the table with the hardback, and it got her to sign it. And I said yes, and she said, "Come here," and she gave me a hug. and I got a photo, and I was almost moved to tears because she is a beautiful woman.
She's a very stunning woman to this
She's
day.
lovely, and she was so friendly. And she said, "Oh," and the guy she's with, I think her manager, he said that book was fantastic, well done. And I was.
Oh, that's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah. I'll send you the photo, Jeff. I might even send it to you, Omar, as well. Me and Rachel, not Rachel, Sean Young, and it was wonderful.
Yeah. You should put that on as a blurb on the back of the next book.
Yeah, I should do. I should get in contact with her and see if she'd like to write a blurb for the back of the book.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
I'm actually writing that one down. Yeah,
right. You just write all these ideas down.
Well, that's the first one I've written down. The other one, I can't read my handwriting.
Dana, we talked about that a little bit earlier. Actually, both of these gentlemen are very, very
we talked
about the many releases of these Marvel adaptations, but it's a licensing thing right now.
Yes, it is. But I would love to, given half the chance. I would absolutely love to.
So you hugged
Yes, I have.
Rather, she hugged you. She said, "Come here." Just saying. I don't think they can answer this one, NetZone, about the variants and what's available from Forbidden Planet and not anywhere else. This is more of the behind the scenes.
Yeah, sorry, Ned, I can't help you. But I like your logo. It's very nice.
And let's see here. What's the difference? Oh, you already answered this one, and we talked about the art. Yeah. So you are currently working on. Wow, you are okay. So I know Savage Sword 10 just came out. You're currently working on 12.
Yeah.
And that takes a lot because that one has not been done before. By the way, for people that don't know, the last Marvel one was Volume 8 for Savage Sword. Everything afterwards, it's David.
And Heroic Signature. I can't give them enough credit.
Yes, Heroic Signatures with David working on these books and the restoration. And you're also working on King Conan 2, another book that Marvel stopped with a Volume 1.
Yeah, and
Volume 2 has never been restored. There's never been, any kind of... Well, no, I take it back. I'm sorry. Jeff probably worked on this. Was the King Conan Dark Horse collections. I think they were called the King Conan.
Yeah, that was all Dark Horse stuff. I mean, I don't know where they sourced it from, but they were, I think, already they'd gotten the license and were doing a program. When I was with Conan Properties, which then morphed into Heroic Signatures, they had just reprinted the Barry Smith stuff in graphic novel format.
Oh wow!
And I think the colors were new. I think they remastered the colors on those. Really nice looking volumes.
Yes, those had the new masters. They weren't restored. So what? Okay. We need to talk about that then, because there is this division between people that love new colors and people that are like, no, it's got to be original colors or go home.
That's a really interesting question. I mean, those reprints of the Winsor McKay material from way back in the day.
Yeah.
The fact that they reproduced the misregistration of the original Sunday pages, that drives me nuts. There's a new Nemo and Slumberland series that came out. I backed a Kickstarter on it, and I can't keep that book. It looks so atrocious. And I think that is something that needs to be remastered. I mean, I realize that in the restoration community, restoration can sort of cross the line into freelancing or changing the artwork and all that kind of stuff. But come on, I think some of that stuff needs to be made palatable to modern eyes. We're more sophisticated now. And just because you're reproducing mistakes in the past doesn't make it good. I mean, maybe it's archival and all that kind of stuff, or authentic in some way, but I want to enjoy the artwork. And I want to see it with clarity that's never really been done before. And now with today's modern technology, you can really make that stuff shine. I mean, you can argue about the colorization. That is an artistic interpretation. I get that. And maybe you could have multiple versions, just like on a Blu-ray, there might be alternate audio tracks or soundtracks and stuff, or even cuts. I think you could do the same thing with that type of material. End of rant.
Okay, no.
It's
It's not a rant, because I think this is we live in a world of collected editions that we're very blessed to have different options. People love Marvel Masterworks. People love Marvel Omnis. People love the big Taschen books. And the big Taschen books don't restore the artwork. They do a little bit of cleanup, but it is the truest to the original colors and the original paper stock. They made their own paper that comics were printed on back then. And it's to me, I like the restoration. Like I like that. There's, and you're right. There is a fine line between restoration and then doing modernization on colors, which I'm not the biggest fan of because I like the way things were the way I remember them. Just lie to me a little bit and put it on that glossy paper stock and make it look a little fancier. Do a little bit of restoration. I'm okay with that. Clean it up a little bit. It's weird that those are $200 books that people are paying with ads that have the actual ads in them. And also the art hasn't been cleaned up at all.
Well, those are facsimile editions. And I think there's a place for that if you want to have that original experience. But just because they did it back then doesn't make it correct. You know, they were making mistakes back then as well.
Oh, definitely.
And in the fullness of time, you have a chance to, I don't know, correct their mistakes. But at least that's what a remaster, I think, is you're bringing it up to modern standards.
Well, that's a good point because, Jeff, you for Blade Runner 2019, Jeff was adamant that we added in sound effects that were done for the original 2019 4-issue series, but then got removed. So they weren't used in the finished comics. But Jeff wanted them put back into the book, so we had to source those back in. So I think he's got a good point, is that what these books do is that when the comics come out, any small accidents or mistakes or typos can get corrected in the books as well. You know,
it's like their rough drafts. So this is their first versions, and they can still evolve. I mean, look at Leaves of Grass. You know, every edition was new because he'd always add new poems or take stuff out. You know, they were living documents. I think our comics should be the same.
But I think when it comes to the question about coloring, I mean, you know, I keep going on about this, and I'm sorry, I am old school. I do love old comics, but I think it's a very interesting point. One of the things is the reason that the colors were so vibrant back in the original Marvel days was because the printing process was quite crude by comparison. But not just that, the paper stock was atrocious. You needed strong colors because otherwise it wouldn't work, you know. And as Jeff says, you know, you know, when things don't align properly, when you got sheets that shift, that's lovely. But he's got a point. If you're going to buy a remastered thing, if you have mistakes that have been put in to mimic those and they're modern, then that's not the same. That's putting in new mistakes into something. So I've got a problem with that. I did a series of books for Titan, which I'm deeply proud of. There's a character called Roy Race, who's Roy the Rovers. It's a football strip, and we had a great tradition in this country of
football,
football, soccer. Not the cheating one where you handle it and you run around and fall over a lot. You know, the proper one where you're actually kicking the ball into the net. Yeah, you know.
The proper one. That's right.
Yeah, all right, fair play.
It's not rugby. Okay, it's not rugby. Anyway, but the great thing was, right, that England or Britain used to do these beautiful annuals that come out at Christmas time, hardback little books on quite crappy little paper. And I went through and I did 3 volumes of this called The Best of Roy the Rovers. And I took all the stuff I could from the annuals and we scanned from the original artwork in the annuals, not the actual original artwork itself, but the pages. And then what we did was we scanned it all full color. And then I went and working with the production department, we found the right sort of paper. You can't get the paper that they're printed on anymore because it's a bit pulpy. But the wonderful thing was, because we actually scanned the actual original pages of these books, when you looked at the sides of the book, you could see the change in the paper. But it was artificial. It was done by the printing, and they looked wonderful. So we actually kept that quality, and that for me, those books were just an absolute delight to do because we managed to reference and pay tribute to those old books, and that was fantastic.
It is a really tough choice. I would have to say, from as a publisher, how do you print these books? Like, because there's so many different formats that are available. And there's so many different choices, and restoration takes a lot of time too. I don't think people realize how much time it takes. Like on a black and white page, David, like, can you give us an idea of just how much time it takes you? And I know each page is different too. Every artist is different. Every inker is different. But can you give us an average of how long it takes you to restore like a page on Savage Sword of Conan, which is black and white?
Savage Laws of Conan, there aren't any problems with it. I mean, all I could compare that to was when I was doing Flash Gordon collections, and I was looking at Dan. Let's do Dan Barry, because he's the one I had the most problem with. It was getting the assets. This is the hardest thing. If you've got good assets, and Heroic have got access to great assets, so it's not a problem. When we were doing Flash Gordon, my assets were coming in like low res, or there'd be tear sheets from weirdly enough, like Australia and New Zealand, you get tear sheets, and we'd have to work with those. And some of them would be like they've been copied so often that you'd get that strange distortion that would happen when they've been photocopied, and you get little dots everywhere. And I'd have to go in and clean out all the dots. So when we're doing and these are big books, you're talking like 300-page plus books for Flash Gordons, and I could spend I got, because I was so diligent, it was almost like Leach. You can't keep working on these books. You've got to go and do something else. I could spend 6, 7, 8 months just doing the artwork, getting it up to standard, removing all those little dots and everything, trying to make it work. Each one of these projects, it can be. I can't answer that question, because it could be for example, when I did the just in terms of getting the assets, it took 2 years to get all the assets for the Prisoner book that I did. 2 years of searching and getting in contact and working with the people that own the original artwork. That was an incredible challenge. Doing the Flash Gordons, that could take, like I said, a good 8 months worth of prepping the artwork, getting the assets in. That was a challenge. But you don't think about it, because for me it's just I love it. I can't describe it any better. I get such a joy out of it. I truly love comics. I mean, basically it's my wife, my children, and then comics. That's it for me.
That melts my heart.
No, but I'm not doing it. I'm not being too flippant. I mean, if I'm being really honest, it's comics first, and the rest follow. But I can't say that in case you
don't say that out loud.
I just have. Oops. Anyway. I mean, I've been
Good advice, Jeff.
I've been reading comics since I was 5 years old, and all I ever wanted to do was make comic books. I've never wanted to do anything else in my entire life. I still have the 4 books that inspired me as a kid to be a cartoonist. I still have them to this day. One of them is a little paperback of Superman. We used to get, in this country, we'd get Foursquare Digest books of Superman stories that were cut out and rearranged. And one of them was him going up against that mutated gorilla. Anyway, what I'm saying is that for me, comics are everything. So the opportunity to work with this is like Blade Runner, which is has such a profound and important part in my imagination. The chance to work on Blade Runner has just been, I genuinely couldn't believe it. I mean, I can still remember when I'm sitting in the office of our old publishing director. I can remember the day when he opened his door and he just shouted out, "Leach, do you like Blade Runner?" And I went, "I effing love Blade Runner." He says, "You're the editor." And I was like, ah! It was, I couldn't believe my luck.
That's how you got the job?
Yeah, that's how I got the job.
That's
well,
awesome.
when we were I first convinced the company that maybe we should be getting into publishing, we did have kind of a beauty contest to have publishers come in and pitch their version of Blade Runner and how they would do the comic. So we had at least 6 different publishers come in, and by far the most passionate ones was Titan. So it was an easy.
Did David give you is he the one that gave you the pitch?
No, it was Nick Landau, who is a remarkable salesman. And but they rose to the top. Plus their company, it's a smaller independent company, and Alcon is a small independent company as well. So just the cultures of the company was a good mesh.
Yeah, definitely.
And that there wasn't layers of bureaucracy, and the communication was very direct, and so that was a lot as well, because just having access that's not complicated was a big thing as well. But it was the passion. We responded to the passion.
Yeah, and definitely the passion's there, because you couldn't have found anyone more passionate about Blade Runner than me. I mean, like I say, I
hope you're seeing someone about that.
I have actually. I have, yeah. They dress up as different characters. It's amazing.
How faithful will the original stories mythos will Titan releases be? Oh, Jen, are you talking about the Blade Runner? Because they fit into the continuity of Blade Runner beautifully. Like I've had the pleasure of reading the 2019, 2029, and I think part of 20. I haven't read the Tokyo book that you all are talking about. I don't know what that is. Is that a new ongoing series? Or...
Yeah, it's called Tokyo Nexus. The first 4 are collected now. We're working on the next 8. So
Okay,
it'll be a
I haven't
12
read
issue.
those.
Okay.
Yeah,
The first series was written by Mello Brown and Kiana Shaw, and drawn by Mario Talbot. And it was something that Jeff and I had discussed, and we to a degree, I don't want to say that we came up with an idea that we wanted to see. We liked the idea because we wanted to really push into the whole thing of noir, and the idea of having a private detective just seemed, why haven't we done that before in Blade Runner? So we discussed the idea that it'd be interesting to have a dynamic where you had a Blade Runner, an ex-Blade Runner, who had teamed up with a replicant, and they were running a private detective agency. And then then we discussed the idea that wouldn't it be interesting if it was based in Tokyo, because Jeff was very keen that we should move out of Los Angeles and actually go. And we had a wonderful conversation where we were discussing what locations around the world could we do. Could we do one set in Rome, one, and all that sort of stuff. And Tokyo seemed like the best place to go. So once we come up with that, we then went looking for among our stable of writers, and Mello was very keen to do it, and he just took the idea and he ran with it, and they worked on the first 4, and then we got Nancy Collins in, and she's carried on doing it. So Nancy, we'd worked with Nancy on Black Lotus, and now she's doing the new Black Lotus, and also she's doing Tokyo Nexus. And so it's just taking that idea of having a character set in Tokyo, and you've got the whole thing about there's this lovely idea that Jeff and I have been talking about for years, the idea that we know that Tyrell make replicants, but what about other companies? What are they doing? So this all came about from something that we talked about Jeff hates this word, but I love it. I like the idea of a book about patent wars. Jeff would get really angry and say, "That's boring. God damn it, Leach, you're boring."
No one cares about patent wars.
Yeah, who cares? And I thought, no, 2 companies fighting over, anyway. It came down to
the point is that Tyrell's replicants are the official replicants, and the other replicant is a bootleg replicant.
Yes.
And done without sanction. And how does Tyrell address that problem? And how are those types of replicants different? I mean, is there just one formula? There can't be. There should be, shades and flavors. So this is a way to explore that area of the franchise.
I really like this question. I know we got to start wrapping up, gentlemen, but how does it feel to be working on the original inspiration to so many things like Cyberpunk? Like, I know you all see all this stuff that's out there now, and a lot of it, inspiration came from Blade Runner.
I think it came from the film, not the book.
Yeah,
the visual film. I think you're right. That is the font of which birthed Cyberpunk. And now in literary, from Gibson on to some of the new Cyberpunk in the video games, it's its own genre, and creating a new genre like that out of nothing, as it were, is unusual. So it's great to play in that world. I like it quite a bit.
Yeah, I do too. I love Blade Runner. The chance to work in it is just, dream come true. Absolutely.
Yeah, I have to get a real job if I wasn't doing that.
Yeah, me too. I'd be working in a shoe shop. I was watching.
I think I'd be driving an Uber.
I was watching Black. Is it Black Rain? Ridley Scott film with Michael Douglas.
Yeah, Black Rain.
Yeah, Black Rain.
That's Blade Runner 2. Seriously, it just looks. It's set in Tokyo. That looks like Blade Runner.
That's why I like it so much.
Yeah,
some great visuals in that.
Yeah, fantastic. Absolutely, every shot it's like, oh, that's from Blade Runner. So, I wonder if the same director did it.
Watching Blade Runner in the cinema in the day was truly magical.
Yeah,
true enough.
Absolutely. Can't argue that one.
David saw it before me because he's a better person than me. But I did go to the first screening that it came out, 70 millimeter, 6-point surround sound at these big theaters in San Jose. And it was definitely a magical experience.
Yeah. Every time it gets re-released at the cinema, I go and see it.
Yeah.
I've only seen it in the theaters, I think, twice. And once was the director's cut that was finally coming back I think it was in the early 90s when I went. And I haven't seen it in the theater since the 90s. Like, I love watching old movies back in the theater, like taking my oldest daughter to, like, introducing her to things that I enjoy. And some of the things she gets hooked on, and some of the things she rolls her eyes like, oh, this is kind of stupid.
Kids.
But you know, you're not gonna win them all. Just like when my dad tried to get me to watch a bunch of westerns, some of them I'm like, oh man, this is bad, Dad. And then some of them I'm like, this is great.
It's funny because when you say old films, you talk about Blade Runner. I know this is stupid. I don't consider it to be old. You know, to me, it's like it's not old. It was only made in 1982. That's not old.
Oh, some people, you know, we've noticed the generational divide between the two films, and that the youngs will often look at the original Blade Runner as slow.
Oh, yeah. I know several people that do not like it
and makes no sense, and you know, come on, boomer, kind of a thing.
I know several, actually, including my younger brother. He does not like the original movie.
Yeah, I get it.
None.
I get it.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've never met your younger brother, and already I dislike him.
You're a good judge of character. I'm the good one.
But I watch a lot. Actually, I watch quite a bit of old films. I go to classic film conventions and that sort of thing. So I watch a lot of silent films, a lot of stuff from the 30s, 40s. I'm not the target audience.
I watched this week. I watched Run Silent, Run Deep, which was a fantastic Burt Lancaster submarine film from the 50s.
That's an old school one. That's like one that my dad would get me to watch. It's a good one. I like that one.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I know it's said too often. They don't make films like that anymore. Just they don't.
I don't think we have the patience for films like that anymore. But that's another conversation. Seriously, like that's just the people's brains are not built for it. Like I think some people are. Some people like the slow driven plots, but others just want instant gratification. Like give me that action.
There's been an acceleration in pacing for films like that, and that
TV shows as well. Yeah, absolutely.
At different times. Well, now the TV shows are designed to watch them while you're also watching your phone.
I know. It's my heart.
The actors are always repeating the plot points and reminding you what's going on.
I think out of anything else that has happened with like modern society, that drives me up the wall is people not checking their phones nowadays in the theater, but checking their watches. Oh, that drives me crazy. Like, you know, I want to be lost in a movie. This is why I go to movie theaters.
Yeah.
It's one place I can put my damn phone down and I don't need to be bothered by anything. And I think people forget that. Immediately, as soon as they get a message or whatever, people are checking. I see this constantly.
No, I agree. Public etiquette is really diminished in theaters. You know, they think it's their living room, and it's not the case. It's a holy site, and they should treat it as such.
Absolutely. Here.
Okay. So I got one more question, and then this is a really sweet one from the chat here. But yeah, David, the last time I had you on, I had you and Heroic Signatures on. We talked about these books from the Dark Horse Comics. They were colossal size, and people were just never stopped asking me since that interview. Has there been talk? Will they ever do it? And if they do it, will they do it in that format? I figured I'd take my shot while you're here. Yeah.
May I refer you to my previous questions on this subject? I just don't know.
You don't know? Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'd love making books of 1,000 pages. I do. I've got to say, guys, I mean, I don't know where you do most of your reading when it comes to comic books. I tend to be sitting down on the toilet when I'm reading comic books.
Guess because you're working the rest of the time.
What hemorrhoid medication do you use?
Stories.
If I had a book that big on my lap, my legs would die. I would lose all blood circulation to my legs. I'd fall over. So I've got to say that it's not a comfortable book to read on your lap when you're in the toilet. I'm just want to put it out there.
I'd like to test this theory and have a university actually do a study on this.
Okay.
Yeah, that's an image I don't want to have in my head.
If there's money involved, I'm happy to be part of this process.
Oh, no money. You just get a free omnibus or something.
I've got enough.
Which will make a lot of people happy too.
I don't need any more. My wife will kill me if I get any more in the house.
And then I want to end this on this note, right? I think this is really, really well put. I just want to thank you guys for all you do, bringing this wonderful work to life for us. We are so lucky to have you. So
that's very kind.
I think,
yeah, sweetest kittens on Christmas.
That's very kind. Thank you very much. It's yeah, it's fun. And I'd just like to say now that I've thoroughly enjoyed working with Jeff.
Yeah, I'm right back at you, David.
Oh, look at you two.
I know, really.
Guys. Oh, I love it. Oh, actually, this is an excellent question.
Ugh.
I'm sorry, David, but you got to know this one. You're 12 volumes ahead. When it's all said and done, how many omnis do you see Marvel, Conan, and Savage Sword will be? I know we've talked of this before, and the way you and Heroic had mapped out the Savage Sword. And I don't want to put words in your mouth, so I'm not even going to quote it, what I remember. So,
Oh, do you remember? I don't. I mean, I know that there's definitely a finite number. I honestly,
you can't remember. You told us 19.
Okay, 19. 19 seems like a good number. Okay. I mean, put it this way. Let's say 19. If I'm wrong, what's going to happen? What's the worst that could possibly happen to me if I'm wrong? So I think there's definitely
the internet. This is the worst that could happen to you.
I think I'll be okay. I think the internet likes me. Come on, guys.
Look how cheery he is. You can't get mad at a face like that. Yeah, so I think you told me 19 for that. And then you've got, I don't know what the plan is for Marvel, because Marvel already did the 10 of the first series, and I don't know if you're going to continue it with a volume 11 with a new series.
I think we're definitely doing all of the Marvel ones. I mean, like we're doing Conan Adventure, which is the series that came after Conan the Barbarian. So we're definitely doing all of the Marvel ones, and I'm sure that there's conversations about, because we, Heroic have access to the entire Conan library, so I'm sure that Dark Horse, they could be next. So I just think just keep. Wouldn't it be nice though? It's a surprise. Ooh, rather than knowing it all now, why not just, wow, that's a nice surprise. Remember before the days of the internet where films came along like Blade Runner, and all you saw would be the odd picture in an article in one of the 2 science fiction magazines that there were, before the internet ruined everything. So let's just take this as it's going to be a nice surprise when it happens.
Did anybody catch what David said? I was looking at my text messages.
Yeah,
I had text messages coming up. I didn't hear anything he said. Anybody catch that?
Not being a slave to numbers.
Let's just be glad that no one's recording this.
Yeah, this will never be played anywhere again.
Thank God for that.
Jeff, David, oh my gosh, what an absolute pleasure you guys have been to talk to. And thank you so much for getting us a little behind the scenes as to how these things work, how long they take, and what you're currently working on, and perhaps the future of other collections down the line. And yeah, man, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, David. And it's nice to meet you, Jeff. It's really cool how passionate you guys are about certain series too, like Blade Runner. And I'm glad that they put 2 people in charge of Blade Runner that are the right people.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, somehow it just worked out. I still can't believe it. It's been really great, and this was a wonderful experience. I appreciate it very much.
Oh, it was my absolute pleasure to get to talk to you both. Before you go, what kind of projects are you working on next? Where can people see your work later on?
Me? Well, we're continuing the comics with David.
Oh, no, you, Jeff. Either one of you.
We're working on we're working with Insight Editions on a making of book for the 2029 Blade Runner series, the TV series. But that'll be out, I don't know, 18 months, long time. And also with Titan, we're doing a making of art book on The Expanse, where it's all 6 seasons. The first, we did an Expanse book before, but it was really just pictures with some pull quotes. Now we're doing a proper making of book that'll encompass the entire series. That first book was only the first 3 seasons with a preview of season 4. So Expanse fans out there, there's a really good edition coming out next year that'll be really worthwhile. And I'm really very excited about that project.
That sounds good.
Yeah, the way I say it.
What about you, David? What can people expect?
Titan-wise, I mean, I'm doing Conan's Blade Runner. I'm still working on three series of Blade Runner. Peanuts, I do all the Peanut facsimile editions, which I absolutely love. I'm working on the next volume 21 through to 26. I'm doing next. That's an absolute joy. I'm working on a couple of other projects which I'm probably not allowed to talk about, so I'm not going to, but they're quite meaty. And then I do my own stuff, because when I'm not at Titan, I'm at home making my own comic books. So I've got 15 different books that I put out there.
No wonder you gotta read in the toilet. You don't have any time to do anything else.
Oh, there's tons of time. You just don't watch telly. If you stop watching all these rubbish TV shows, there's tons of time.
Yeah, good point.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm doing that. So I'm about to start work, and I cannot talk about this one, but I'm hopefully going to be working on a very well-known character. I do comedy. I don't know if you guessed. I do lots of comedy in books and comic books, and all my books are humor-based. So I did one called Monolith Adventures in Hollywood. That's all about the monolith in the film 2001: A Space Odyssey.
You actually shared that with me because I wanted to share
that book's a lot of fun.
I did that. Then there's my autobiographical comic, David Leach Conquers the Universe. That's a 4-issue miniseries. That's finished now. And then there's Psycho Gran, who's my most well-known character in the UK. I'm working on 2 new things with her. So she's got 2 books. One's called Versus, which is her beating up superheroes. Just 1-page gags of her kicking and punching superheroes in the testicles, which is very funny. And then there's one called Comic Capers Cavalcade, which is this collection. So she appears, David Lloyd, who does V for Vendetta.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right. So he's got this fantastic digital magazine called Aces Weekly, and Psycho Gran's been a part of that since the beginning. So she appears. She's not. I wouldn't say she's in every issue. She's not in every issue, but she's.
Is that a digital series?
Yes, digital. So I reprint those.
I didn't know you were a part of that. The editor got a hold of me and I asked me if I was interested in showcasing some of the stuff, and I was like, absolutely. Do you have any collections of it though? Because that's what my channel focuses on, is collected editions.
Well, I do floppies of those. So I've done 3 issues of Psycho Gran, which collects all the strips that have been in Aces Weekly. So yeah, I'm just do comics. I mean, like I said earlier on, I love the goddamn things. I mean, all I do is make comic books. It's that and children.
Watch your wording there.
I know. And that's a bit icky.
And on that note, I just want to thank my guests. I want to thank Titan Comics for helping me put this together. I'm a big fan of your all's work, and I can't wait for more of these books to come out and fill my shelves. And yeah, everybody hit that like button. Go and check out Blade Runner. That is going to make it as one of my top 10 releases of the year.
Wow, thank you.
It's phenomenal. It's huge. It's beautiful. And it came out in the right format. Oh my gosh. I can't wait. More of these books to be collected in this. And I think it's the older I get, the more I need them in a bigger format.
And we're going to take your recommendations about the slipcases to very seriously.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And if you ever need anything, just shoot me an email. Hit that like button on the way out, everybody. Stay healthy and safe. We are out of here. Thank you so much for watching. And